time for another coffee with Kilroy, or what I often call beverage in a book. My beverage, well, coffee. My book is One Page Rev, Guns in the Summer Wood. This is a solo roll and write American Revolution war game by Noah Patterson. I've covered several of Patterson's books and game books and find them very interesting. They are yet a different aspect of this genre of game books and war game books. They take a little bit different approach. They're not as necessarily as involved as we might find from Van Hare or Lambo type games, but interesting nonetheless, and usually a little bit easier and accessible to get to the table and bang out a few of them as a filler. Some of the other games are more of a board game. Like the Minden and Lambo and Van Hare, they're more of a war game in a book, and so you're pulling out all the aspects of a hex and counter type game in some respects from those. This one is, and especially this one, is a roll and write, so this is a little bit even simpler, not necessarily easy and not necessarily frivolous, but a more simple design to get to play and to experience at least this designer's perspective on on wargaming or on this conflict. So with that, let's and it's part of the solo workbook series. So we're getting all kinds of different names and series coming out here. Let's take a look at the back here. And a little closer here. Noah Patterson has done a lot in the micro RPG. That's when I first found out or saw her work, was in that area, and doing some solo RPG stuff, which is I'm always interested in. So Micro RPG is a transgender and autistic-owned publisher of inclusive and fun solo game books and role-playing games. One Page Rev, Guns in the Summer Wood, is an easy-to-learn and simple-to-play solitaire gaming experience set during the American Revolution. You play as a colonial militia in the woods of upstate New York during the height of the summer of 1777. All you need to play are six-sided dice, a copy of the main game sheet from this book, and a pen or pencil. You can also optionally use tokens or minis to track the weather and your militia. The Solo War Book series is a line of game books that take players on a solitaire journey around the world and through time and history. So there you have it. And if you want to see anything I've got from Noah Patterson, then take a look at my playlist down below, and you'll see some of her other designs. So here's a cover here, and here's more introduction, another introduction to micro RPG. Here's a background on the designer. So full-time game designer. Hi, my name is Noah Patterson. I'm a full-time tabletop game designer working in the indie world of gaming to bring diversity, inclusion, and safe gaming space to all gamers. Sorry, covering that up some. Around the world, I am owner of the indie publisher Micro RPG and use my platform to reach out to gamers of every walk of life. This is One Page Rev, and you've got the kind of the contents of this book: overview, game sheet, militia stats, supply and grid, dice roll, sequence of play, victory conditions, weather step, spotter step, train, enemy stamina, movement, combat, damage calculation, taking damage, ammo explosion, militia routed, salvage setup, and game end. So, boy, I cut off some of that there. I apologize for that. Let me get some coffee so I can perk up and do this right. So that's all that's the game. That's your all the different steps of the game. Now that looks kind of complicated, but it's really not. We'll see that as we go through here. As you see, there's dual column, but with a lot of large images throughout, and to kind of explain gameplay here. So move out of the way here so I can see a little bit better here. Here's the game overview, game sheet. That's the woods you're in. Here's the militia. Here's ration, your different resources here or supply. You've got ration, powder, shot. You've got weather's going to take place or affect gameplay. You've got your terrain, which is going to affect movement and stamina and the like. I mean, that's very war game-ish, right? You've got hexes and you've got a terrain chart that affects things. So, I mean, who says this isn't a war game? You've got enemy units here. You've got, let's see, salvage. It's interesting. Tack tables. Here's militia stats. Their stamina, rifles, pistols, morale, looks like there. Or their different stats. Here's supplies and grit. So you got your rations, powder, shot, spot, grit, and pony. Roll in there. You keep track of it on a chart, and that'll be next to the game the game page, I should say. This is one page rev, right? Rolling the dice. We need to learn how to roll the dice, right? Sequence of plays. You're going to have the weather, spotter, stamina, movement, combat, salvage. That's it. So you got 6 steps there. Here's your victory conditions. Here's the weather step, spotter step. So they're going to have the different things for each of those different steps. Your terrain, enemies, stamina, movement, combat, preliminary attacks, enemy actions, main combat. Here's ranged attacks. Here's melee. Let's call the whole thing off. Retreats, damage calculation, taking damage, ammo explosions. There's a lot here. Militia routed, salvage step, game end. The game ends in one of the 3 ways. The British VP track is completely filled. That's a British victory. I don't think you want that. The Colonial VP track is completely filled. Colonial victory. I think that's what we're shooting for. Your militia has been routed. British victory. That's not good. You have reached the end hex. The end hex always counts as a road. Counts as... At this point, you will calculate victory based on the difference in VP track. So, when you get to the end hex, then it just becomes a matter of adding up victory points, or comparing the 2 victory point tracks and seeing who wins that. So here's the gameplay, the game itself, and there's extra pages of this. Here's a black and white kind of version to maybe if you don't want to copy the color so much and kill your printer. But you got sequence of play, you got steps of combat, which is probably the key aspect of the game that has some multi-sub-steps. And then here's the game. Here's the woods, here's all the victory point tracks, here's your weather, enemy, salvage, attack tables, militia, supplies, all that stuff. And there you have it. That is the game. You have some extra pages of this. I mean, I would never write in a book. That's just not my style. So I'd probably make a copy of this, maybe make a copy of both these, because then you have this kind of as a player aid, because it is a player reference sheet, and then play on this page here. I'd make several copies. That's what I've done with his other or her other books. I started covering Patterson books. I think it was Roll for Omaha, or no, it was the tank one. Was the first one that I covered of hers. So anyway, there you have it. Yeah, 1 page rev, Guns in the Summer Wood. I like this. I like the, I mean, I haven't played this yet. I just picked this up, but I like this perspective. I like seeing, I'm all about perspective. Look at my my cover photo and read the description of that. It gives you a little bit of idea of why I look at things, or how I tend to look at things a little bit different. So I like designers and games that take a different look at conflict and try to game it out in different ways. Some of them make sense. Some of them are, don't. Some of them are fun. Some of them are not. But that's the beauty of this hobby, right? Is experiencing those aspects and seeing what works and what doesn't. And I tend to find something useful or good or interesting in just about everything. You know, even a bad movie, I can probably find something that I found interesting. Had a friend of mine that used to say even bad pizza is good. Maybe that just going back to college days. Anyway, that's what I have for you today. One-page rev, Guns in the Summer Wood on Coffee with Kilroy. Thank you for stopping by. I greatly appreciate you spending any amount of time with me and listen to me ramble on. The best way I know you stop by, though, is drop me a comment. What do you think about this design? What do you think about gaming the Revolution, American Revolution in this format? Or Patterson's other designs, or any of the game books that I've covered. I've covered quite a few over the last few years. Anyway, thanks again. Have a good one. Thanks for watching.